Yeah.
No, I thought it was a dreadful performance. I thought it was the attacking threat for me just wasn't there.
I don't know. I don't know. Was it a mix of Argentina kind of rush defence and our lads just we could not get a guy running onto a ball at all. I don't know what was.
But like our set piece has been terrible.
Yeah,
our line-out wasn't good.
We
our
coughed up
maul
a great
has been
transfer.
Atrocious. I'd say it has made a total of. It's probably gone backwards over the course of 2 games if you added up
the line-out.
The maul.
The maul, yeah.
The maul, it's scandalous.
I don't know, like the amount of work these lads must do on that stuff. I can't understand it. We are
Giving
giving away a lot of
too many
penalties. Yeah,
that's 100% null. Yeah.
And
Discipline has been dreadful.
Was it 2 yellows today or more?
2 yellows.
Lucky not to get another one for Tyburn.
Yeah, like we gave away 13 penalties last week against New Zealand. That said a number of something similar today. Like that's at international
poor
level. Once you go over 10, it's too many.
Just go back to Pádraig O'Brien's message there. We're stronger than ever before. No way.
Oh, the team has gone backwards. The last 4 or 5 years, absolutely. But like Ireland won 17 in a row before the World Cup quarter-final, right? So the world record for wins in a row is 18. So you're right up there with the top teams in the world, right? And since the quarter-final defeat, we seem to be slightly on the downward curve. The question I have is where are the players coming through that are going to turn that curve back up? Like there's always going to be a dip after performing at a level like that. There's always going to be a dip.
But 17 games, you're talking what, 2 years rugby there?
Yeah,
and then you're going to get guys who are shoving towards retirement age. There's always those guys who are.
And I'll never get out about Ireland
to
losing to a New Zealand or a France or a South Africa, right? Because they're 50-50 games. You're going to win as many of them as you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But Argentina aren't at that level. And tonight, to me, we saw a declining team. Standards are slipping. Simple things not being done right.
Bit of complacency sneaking in there too.
Cheap yellow cards, poor line out, poor scrum.
So Ian Jacobs is right.
What does Ian say?
Ian said we were on a downward spiral.
I think we are on a downward. The results are saying we're on a downward spiral. Like, you know.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very interesting Six Nations though. Because you're going out against an England team now. Granted, they lost to Australia, but they're looking a bit more solid.
They have been improving.
They gave the All Blacks a fair game,
and they beat us.
They beat us earlier this year. I know it was last drop goal, but we didn't complain when we beat South Africa with the last drop goal. But you'll have France who are always electric. They're a great side anyway. But
the only thing Ireland are lucky that the other 3 teams are shit. So like Wales got beat by Fiji last week. They're probably the worst they've been ever.
Italy are obviously
Italy got their hiding from Argentina last week.
Yeah.
So they're not great. Scotland aren't great.
Yeah.
So Ireland are probably going to get 3 wins out of those 3. Yeah. Like even Ireland on a dip
it'll
are
boil down
capable
to
of beating all those 3. Like it's always good to win when you're not quite at your best. But at the same time, I think this team has set a standard that they haven't reached, and they have to be honest. Good teams are honest with themselves as to why they're not reaching that standard. And all right, it was an improvement in last week when they were dreadful altogether with the handling errors, but it's still way too many errors. Too many errors.
Yeah.
And that's not being the hallmark of this team. This team has to. Ireland are underdogs. We don't have the playing population. We have to perform well at certain aspects to have a chance against the top sides. Your line out has to be good.
No, but they had become
your
a
maul
side.
has to be good. Your attack has to be inventive.
Yeah, but we had become a side that didn't throw stupid fucking passes.
Yeah.
That had immaculate handling. Considering some of the weather we played
Mark
in the
Hansen
Six
let us
Nations.
down tonight now.
Piss and rain weather.
No, he did.
Some of the handling over the forwards, it was unbelievable to watch. You're thinking this is a polished outfit. And granted, up until the quarter-final against the All Blacks, you're still thinking this is we are where we've been for like steady for the 2 years. And then since now, and like this November series has just been like the Six Nations was great, was good for us.
They won it.
Yeah, they won it. But that England game was a bit of a
signal. To win it, losing your last game never feels the same.
And it was a bit of a piss poor performance. But then you're going from that into a piss poor performance against the All Blacks.
Well, South Africa.
First test. Second test. In fairness,
First test they were dreadful.
Second test we came out. First test, we were dreadful because South Africa beat the tar of us, and made us look dreadful. Granted, second half, our second test, we fronted up in the first half, but South Africa took over the second half.
They did,
and we were lucky to. We should have seen it out. We were lucky to steal it with 2 drop goals.
You would be expecting South Africa to see it out, even though we kind of
how often do you see
stole it at the end.
How often do you see a game at that level won with 2 drop goals in a row?
Our discipline is all over the place, like penalties and yellow cards. How many was there tonight? 2.
I don't know how many penalties, but you're definitely into the teens, like you're into 12, 13, 14 territory, and 2 yellow cards.
Sure.
You go back to Joe Smith's time, right? And they weren't as good a team as this, and they were giving away 5 and 6 penalties a game.
Yeah.
Like that's discipline, like.
Yeah. But some of them...
They had the lowest penalty count in the entire Six Nations for years.
Lads, I can forgive a fella giving away a penalty if he's caught on the wrong side and he's doing his best to get out of the way, and the ref has no choice but to say, look, you're offside, or you failed to roll away because he physically wasn't able, I'm giving the penalty. You hold, you've nothing against a lad like that, there's nothing you could do. But I'm seeing stuff now in the last couple of games that makes you kind of think, lads, that's basic shit.
Yeah.
But I go back to last week's game, right? And it wasn't even the giving away penalties. Sometimes, and in any sport, there are times you have to give away a free, you have to give away a penalty, whatever it is, hurling, soccer, whatever it is. Right?
Yeah, you take one for the
team.
team.
See it all the time in soccer now, and the transition where they want to stop that early run or breaking with the ball. So Ireland were really good in that run up when they had their 17 wins in a row at giving away the right penalty. So they were giving away the penalty where 7 points was on. Yeah. But if you look at where they gave away the penalties against New Zealand last week, it was all between the 2 10-metre lines.
Yeah. And today.
So the try isn't done. So why in fuck are you giving away a penalty?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're giving handy field position or a handy 3 points to a top-class kicker when there's no try on.
Now, look, to be honest, the other side of that is it's easy to say that you're giving away the penalty. They were forced into the penalties a lot of the time through fucking either desperation or actually a lot of it was just I thought it might be rustiness, but these guys are playing club rugby fucking every day.
But that's decision making. Yeah, and that's what that team has prided.
But is our number 10 vocal though? Does he command?
Maybe not. Maybe they're missing the threat of 60 giving them a bollocks. A bollocking. That's quite possible.
Maybe
that's just massive part of it.
Who's the leader in the pack now without a Mahoney there? Who's the captain on the field? Like Doris is captain now, but have you seen? I see 2 games with him as captain. Have you seen him being a captain in the last 2 games? Yeah. I haven't.
No.
He's a great player now. Don't get me wrong. There's a difference between a great player and a great captain.
But there's no communicators.
Yeah,
correct.
When it comes to balling out a player who's after, a guy who makes a fuck up, you need your captain to come over and go, that's it. No fucking more. I don't think I've ever seen Doris do it. I'm not having a pop at the guy. I think he's a brilliant rugby player. I can guarantee you Sexton did it. Probably did it too much, but he kept lads on their toes. But I don't know. There's shit sneaking in there the last 2 games now, and it's just, I don't know, is it a mix of complacency, arrogance?
What you have, and does that player form into that vocal player? There's goalkeepers that are vocal, and there's goalkeepers that in soccer and getting football that are.
Yeah, like Schmeichel would have been a top, really vocal goalkeeper.
Yeah, commanding. Yeah. So it's Crowley. I don't know. He's not.
But Benny, I suppose the thing is, this is a savagely experienced bunch of players. When you lose someone like Sexton, then you're thinking, it doesn't matter. I'm going to have 4 or 5 lads who are going to step in and take up the slack. In terms of, because you're bringing in a couple of fresh faces. I know Crowley isn't super fresh face, but Prendergast and some of these other lads they're all reasonably inexperienced. Yeah. But you're bringing these lads in, you're thinking, right, I'm going to have these super experienced lads who are going to take up the slack. They'll keep the standard in terms of your discipline. They'll put lads in their place if they need to be rollicked. Yeah. I haven't seen it, to be honest, since six. No, I know we got through the Six Nations, but to be honest, if we're being honest, lads, the Six Nations, DuPont was gone, was he not, for the Olympics?
Oh, he was.
The Six Nations was piss poor this year. It was awful.
Well, France were terrible.
France were terrible. That was one your major. That's your main contender.
Scotland would do their usual talking up. We're going to bed Ireland this time and chat the
togs. Yeah.
Right, Italy, and then the one game that was of any consequence, we lost.
Yeah. So when you actually dissect it, it's been a bad year.